A warm welcome to all of you. Welcome, and welcome to Anexas Talks, Quality Talks. And today we are going to talk, as you already know and you would have seen, we are going to talk about Balance Scorecard and the Green Six Sigma Black Belts, Master Black Belts, Green Belts. These are very important, some of the tools which usually these Master Black Belts they use to select their projects. So we will definitely like to know from our guest today, Pradeep Sharma. He's not a new name. Many of you already know him. Many of you might have got training from him. So we will like to hear from him about Balance Scorecard. And of course, many of you must have, those who have read the book, The Anexas Story, they all know the contributions Pradeep has made to Anexas. So I don't have to, I would definitely not like to repeat it again here. And those who want to read definitely can read that book. So let me introduce Pradeep Sharma to you. Pradeep Sharma has 18 years experience in consulting in strategy management, operational excellence, and project management across healthcare, engineering, logistics, F&B, entertainment, and water desalination plants. Currently working as head of strategy management and corporate performance in Saudi Brothers Commercial Company, that is SBCC. A seasoned Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, reputed in transforming healthcare organizations by continuing improvement initiatives, by improving productivity, efficiency, and skills of healthcare professionals, thereby achieving significant improvements in turnaround time using methodologies like Lean Six Sigma, Focus, PDCA, and Kaizen, and developed strategies and balanced scorecard for more than 10 organizations across varied industries. And those who have been with Anexas for the last 10 years, they must have attended lots and lots of trainings. He has trained thousands of green belts and black belts, and they are successfully deploying those improvements within their teams and organizations. So we have a lot to learn today, and it will be a really good idea. So Pradeep, welcome to the
Thank you.
Anexas Quality Talks.
Thank you, Amitabh sir. It's wonderful to be here. So today I would like to share my experience, my journey with the implementation of Balance Scorecard, which I have done. And like I said, hello everybody. You can always ask your questions during the presentation and even after the presentation. So I'll start with, I'll share my screen just to I just prepared a brief presentation to give you an overview of what exactly is balanced scorecard. And I'm not just going to say balanced scorecard because it would be injustice to say that balanced scorecard without strategy management, because balanced scorecard sits at the core of a strategy management. So before I get into strategy management or balanced scorecard, let me first explain that what was the need of balanced scorecard. And I'll give you a brief overview and then I'll go into a bit of details into it. Now, if you look at what is the current era which we're going on. During 18th century, the wealth was or performance was being measured by agriculture. During 18th to 20th century, it was more of an industrial revolution. But now in 21st century, we are in knowledge era. But if you look at the way companies measure their performance, they are still stuck to the way they used to do during 18th, 19th, and 20th century. They used to look at their balance sheets, their profit and loss statements, their cash flows. That's how they used to measure the performance. But in knowledge era, we are still continuing, a lot of companies are still continuing to do only measure the performance from financial perspective. So when we are changing the eras, is it right to keep on measuring the performance the way we used to measure in the old ages? Now, if you look at what exactly is balanced scorecard, I can simply say our main objective is to make revenue, make money. We can make money only if our customers are happy. Our customers will be happy only when our internal processes will be right. Our internal processes will be right only when we have the right people at the right place and we invest in their learning and growth. So once we invest in the learning and growth of the people, they will improve the internal process. And once we improve the internal process, that will improve the customer satisfaction, and automatically that will improve the revenue. So when we know that the financial of a company depends on the customer depends on the process, and process depends on the people, it is not right to do that we measure the performance only from the finance perspective. So this is what Balance Scorecard talks about, that we don't have to measure the performance only from one perspective. There are three more perspectives. So this is what the Balance Scorecard in nutshell talks about, that you have to measure the performance from the financial perspective, you have to measure your performance from the customer perspective, you have to measure the performance from internal process perspective, and you have to measure the performance from learning and growth perspective. And in the center, you have vision and strategy. So like I said, the Balance Scorecard, a lot of people think that Balance Scorecard is only a measurement tool. No, Balance Scorecard is not the measurement tool. It sits at the center of the strategy management. It is a tool which will help in understanding or implementing the strategy, measuring and monitoring the strategy. And by the way, just to give a note of it, Balance Scorecard was developed by two gentlemen, professors in Harvard, Dr. Robert Kaplan and David Norton. And I was lucky to attend.
In fact, I remember, Pradeep, you had even clicked a photograph with one of them, and those days, long ago it has been. But you do have that photograph with you.
I do have that photograph with me. I would like.
Okay.
I can catch it somewhere on Facebook. So I happened to meet Dr. Robert Kaplan. He was here in Riyadh 10 years back, and I attended his 2 days workshop. So that's when I will share my photograph if I'm able to catch that. Yeah. So that's what they say, that it's not only a measurement system. It sits at the center of the strategy management. It helps you in measuring and monitoring the strategy. So like I said, we're talking about strategy. Strategy, what exactly is a strategy? Strategy is something you think about the future of the business. You see, okay, where do we want to go in next 3 to 5 years, maybe 10 years from down the line? And once we have the vision or a strategy in place, we need to make sure that we are implementing it correctly, we are measuring and monitoring, and that's when we will see the role of a Balance Scorecard in. So given a nutshell, what exactly is the process of Balance Scorecard of a strategy management, and where the Balance Scorecard fits into this? So there are 6-step process of strategy management. The first step, what we need to understand is we have to answer the question that what you want to do, what an organization wants to do. Once we answer this question, we will go to the second question. We'll say what organization should do, and then we'll answer the question what organization can do. So based on what you want to do, what you should do, and what you can do, you formulate a strategy. And once you formulate a strategy, you start implementing your strategy, you start taking the projects, and then the last part, which is measure and control. You go back and see whether whatever objectives you have decided, are you implementing it correctly or not? And this is where, in the last step, where you have Balanced Scorecard, where you get a scorecard of your strategy implementation to see whether you're on a right track or not. So if I say strategy is where you want to go, Balanced Scorecard is something which tells you how far you are where you want to go. It's like you look at a milestone. Okay, so I'll just briefly take you through that. What exactly, what organization wants to do? This is basically answer to the question that what is your mission, what is your vision, and what are the core values. Mission is something, what is the purpose of your existence, why your organization exists at the first place. Then vision is something where you see yourself in next 3 to 5 or 10 years down the line. In earlier times, there used to be a vision for 20 years, but since nowadays the environment is changing, the technology is changing, there's ever changing. So we usually set a vision for minimum 3 years to maximum 5 years, and sometimes some companies or organizations do it for 10 years as well. But we don't want to achieve our mission and vision just like that. We need to have some core values defined, which we need to adhere to before we when we are looking at our vision. So that could be honesty, integrity. So for example, my vision is I want to be a billionaire, but that doesn't mean I will go and do some fraudulent activities or get into criminal activities. There are some values which I need to adhere to while I'm achieving my vision. So what are those values which we cannot compromise on when we are achieving the vision? So once we have clear vision and mission and values, we'll answer the second question, that what organization should do. So this is where we have to look at our external environment. in which we are operating. Let's say in current scenario, let's say I want to have an expansion strategy, but we know that we are going through a pandemic. So our environment doesn't allow us to do an expansion strategy. So we have to analyze our external environment before we decide that what we should do. Now there are a lot of tools which are available for us to assess our external environment. We can do Pesley analysis. We can do Porter's 5 forces. I'm sure you must have heard of SWOT. We can do external factor evaluation metrics, comparative profile metrics, comparative analysis. Now, keeping the time in mind, I will not go through into the details of each one of them, but just to give an idea of, for example, what is Pesley analysis, we have to understand our external environment from the perspective of political. How is the political environment? Is it suitable for growth or not? How is the economical? How is the social? How is the technical? How is the legal? And how is the environmental in general? So we have to analyze our environment based on that. Okay, where do we stand in this external? Where do our organization stand in from the perspective of this environment? What are our opportunities? What are the strengths? What are the threats? Okay, so once we understand what are our external assessment, where we are, we need to look at internally. Okay, what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What we can really do? So this is where we have to analyze internally that do we have the capability? For example, we want to expand, but maybe our financials are not strong enough. Our balance sheet is not strong enough, which can help us in doing the expansion. Yes, of course, there is an opportunity as an external environment, but internally, maybe we don't have resources in place. So we have to understand internal environment. And there are a lot of tools which we can use to understand the internal environment. We have to do our financial analysis of value chain. What is our strength in terms of what is our cash flow? What is our balance sheet? How much cash available with us? Then we can analyze our internal environment, like what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses. We can do our portfolio analysis. We might have many products in our hand. So we have to really look at which product is a cash cow, which product is a star, which product is like a dog, or which product is like a question mark. And we need to decide that where do we need to invest? Where do we put money in? So this is where we'll do the BCG matrix, and then we'll do the pricing strategy. So based on the first three questions which we answered, what is our mission, vision, what is the external assessment, what are the opportunities available to us, and then we look at what are the internal capabilities we have or the weakness we have, we are going to formulate a strategy. Now, what exactly do you mean formulation of strategy? What we will do, we have a vision, we'll divide the vision into goals, and then we'll divide the goals into objectives. Just to clarify the difference between vision, goals, and objectives. Vision is, let's say you want to see where do you want to see next, let's say 10 years or 5 years. Goal is long term. Where do you want, how you break down the vision into goals, which you want to achieve in next 3 to 5 years. And objective is yearly. What do you want to achieve this year so that you can achieve your goals? So once you achieve your objectives, you achieve your goals, and once you achieve your goals, you achieve your vision. So you come up with strategic objectives, and this is where we use something called strategy map, which I will share with you all as one of the case study. We create a strategy map. We divide the objectives into 4 categories. What are our financial objectives? What are our customer perspective objectives? What are the internal process objectives? And what are the learning and growth objectives? So we divide objectives into 4 categories. So this is where, at this point of a time, we start building the framework from Balance Scorecard perspective. Like I've given an introduction of Balance Scorecard, there are 4 perspectives: financial, customer, process, and learning growth. So we divide the objectives into 4 perspectives. But once we create a strategy, like these 2 gentlemen, they widely said that they are known for this, is that 80% of strategies, however well conceived, fail to deliver expected results. So you might have wonderful strategy, you might have wonderful objectives, but 80% of the strategies will fail. Why? Because we do not have the right way of implementing them. We do not have the right controls, right measures to do that. So that's where we come to the next step, which is implementation.
I think that's really something very true. 80% of the strategy is, however well conceived, fail to deliver expected results. Now, many of the companies feel that they are the only companies who are having those issues. But I can tell you that, well, 100% this is true. And if experts are telling you that, then it has to be true.
Absolutely.
But so the question would be why? So yes, I think now you are going to come up with and of course, if it is, then what to do about it? See, just analysis is not enough. Means I know that 80% of the strategies fail or fail to deliver the results, but what we need to do? Oh, that's what now Pradeep is going to reveal. So here comes the revelation.
Yes. So here what we have to do is basically, first we need to have a clear strategic objective. So we have to put a picture to our strategy. We use something called strategy map, like you can see here. We divide the objectives into four categories: financial, customer, process, learning and development. And then we see it's like a cause and effect. So what exactly is a strategy map? It is a cause and effect. If I meet one objective, it's going to achieve another objective. And once we meet that objective, it's going to lead to meeting another objective. So this kind of a diagram will help me in understanding that which objective do I need to focus on? Because if I meet one objective, it will impact the other objective as well. So we create something called initiatives. So we have to link strategy with the initiative. So this is a very important part of Balance Scorecard in the initiatives. So initiative is the projects.
Pradeep, I remember we were in one hospital. I think it's far away from Riyadh. It was, I think, 8 years ago.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah.
And there, we were doing this, and when we showed the final result, it was like people were very confused initially when they looked at the final result. But when we started doing it step by step, and when they understood the process, they really were very happy that they created a strategy map. So those who are seeing these maps, of course, it's just not like, you are seeing the end results, but if you go through the step-by-step process, it's very, very easy. It's implementable. It's not something very difficult. And of course, if you want to do that, you know to whom to come to. In Anexas, we are helping companies do this. And we have got advisors like Pradeep as well, who have done this for many companies, and still he keeps advising us. Although right now he's on a major, like on a major assignment and bigger project and bigger. He has got some major responsibilities right now, but definitely we have those expertise, and those who are interested, they can always connect with us.
Definitely, we're always there to help anybody who wants to implement Balance Scorecard. Like you said, it's a very simple process. We help you create your vision, your strategic objectives, and then you link your objectives, and then how we are going to measure those objectives. This is where we have the KPIs and initiatives. So it's a very simple process. We just need to go through the structured approach. So this is like the strategy map. So once you have the picture is clear, which we need to look at, okay, this is what we have to achieve. What we do is we start taking strategic initiatives to achieve these projects, achieve these objectives. So what are the strategic initiatives? Strategic initiatives are nothing but the projects, the action, the activities which you are going to undertake to achieve those objectives. Okay. Now, this is where sometimes people get confused in terms of differentiating between objective and initiative. I'll give you an example. A lot of time I have seen where people say they have put their objective as we want to implement ERP. So ERP is a software for enterprise resource management. So they put the objectives that, for example, IT, if you ask IT, what is your objective? They will say objective is to implement ERP. But why you want to implement ERP? So implementing ERP is not an objective. It is an initiative. Why are you doing it? We are doing it to improve the efficiency, to improve the operational efficiency, to automate the processes. So we have to be very clear in terms of differentiating what is an objective and what is an initiative. So this is where some people get confused, and then they put a KPI for initiative. So we say our objective is to implement ERP. If that's the objective, we'll put a KPI whether have you implemented ERP or no, yes or no. So you will get a good score. But has that implementation of ERP have really improved the performance? Might not, because you put the KPI for the initiative, not for the objective. So we have to be very careful of when you're doing initiative. Initiative have to be linked to the objectives. And how to differentiate? Whenever you are looking at an objective or initiative, ask why are you doing it? If you're able to answer the question that why are you doing it, the answer of that question is the objective, and this is what you're trying to achieve. So you come up with initiative. Now this is where your initiative, when you are at this stage, your help of project management will come into picture, because initiatives, strategic initiatives are nothing but the project. You're managing a project. So this is where your knowledge of project management framework, you have to do a proper planning, you have to execute, you have to do the monitoring, controlling, and you have to close. So you have to take your project management framework over here and start implementing these initiatives. But once you're implementing the initiative, it's very important that you measure. You have to put, so this is what the final outcome will look like. You will have a strategy map, financial, customer, process, learning and growth. You have the objectives. You will put the KPIs, you will put the target, and you will have the initiative. And your initiatives will have a budget. So this is where a strategy also gets linked with the budget planning. So whenever, let's say we are in the last quarter of the year, this is the actual time where the companies will start coming and looking at what is our strategy for next year. And this exercise have to go in parallel with budgeting, because whatever initiative you have to have a budget for that. Okay. So how do you measure the success of it? This is where you will have proper measure and control. This is where you will come up with your KPIs. You have to create, now how you come up with the KPIs, you have to create a key performance question. So for example, our objective is to improve the efficiency, but how do you improve the efficiency? So you have to ask the question that, imagine you're at the end of the year. What kind of question my CEO is going to ask me, whether I have met my objective or not? So you create a list of questions, and then from the questions, you will come up with the KPIs. And then from the KPIs, you will put the target. And once you have the target, you put a data collection plan in place, you can start collecting the data, and you start comparing your actuals with the target, and then you get a scorecard. Okay. So once you look at the scorecard, it can tell you can measure the performance of the organization using the scorecard. You can measure the performance of a department using a scorecard, whether how good is this department implementing its strategy. In fact, you can cascade down to even the individual level, that how this individual is contributing in implementation of the strategy. You can have a scorecard even for an individual. Okay, so you have these KPIs. So this is like we say, what gets measured gets done. So that's why Balance Scorecard focus on, yeah. So you have the KPIs. So once you have the scorecard, we have to do something called as a review the performance. So just to recap here again once more. Here, this is the final outcome. You have a strategy map, your objectives, you have the KPIs, you have the target, and you have the initiative to measure them. And then you have to have a budget. So what you will get at the end of the whole exercise is basically you will have the scorecard, which you need to review. So yeah, there's something called a scorecard owner and a scorecard reviewer. So you are going to review the scorecard by using the performance reviews. So every month you will meet, the scorecard owner will meet with a scorecard reviewer and see whether you are meeting your strategy objectives or not. And then there will be a quarterly reviews, there will be a yearly reviews. At the end of the year, you have to do something called a strategy refresh to see, okay, what we have done, what we decided in the beginning of the year, have we done or not, or do we need to maneuver a bit to have the right direction? So you have to conduct these performance review meetings between the scorecard owner and a scorecard reviewer to manage your strategy. Okay, so this is in a nutshell. I just spoke about a balanced scorecard, and all of this, your KPIs, target, and all. It's you can do it in Excel, or you can automate it. Now, automation means you can come up with the software. There are a lot of software which are available, where you can put in your objectives, you put in your KPIs, you put in your targets, you put in your actuals, and then you can get a beautiful dashboard, and you can track your initiatives on a real-time basis to see whether you're meeting your initiatives or not. But automation, it will not develop a strategy for you. It cannot develop a strategy for you. What it can do for you is help you in doing the measurement. Okay, so you can have this a lot of software which are available for this. So in just nutshell, I just gave you a brief about the balance scorecard and how it is implemented.
So that was really fantastic, and I would say that it's something which very useful, and it has been implemented in so many organizations. And this is something not new. It has been implemented in so many organizations worldwide since I think the year 2000 or so. Actually, when I started working with KPMG, I was told. So I was told that when we were, I was with KPMG. So those days, I think KPMG has launched Balance Scorecard, and I was told to tell about this new product to many clients. And that time, it was really wonderful to see the reactions of everyone. All the clients used to just simply love this Balance Scorecard, and they wanted to implement it, and they really attempted it. But unfortunately, we used to have stories of failures, continuously one failure after another failure. Very few succeeded. Probably maybe a lot of data needed to be captured, a lot of dashboards needed to be made, and that too regularly.
Yes.
So do you have any successful case study, Pradeep? I think it will be a good idea if you share some successful case study that gives a little good confidence, a good level of confidence to all the people who are watching, that it is so easy to implement nowadays. If you are using some softwares, if you are using these applications that are available, and of course, if you are looking for applications, you can come to us. We will be definitely helping you to do that. And I think it will be a good idea if Pradeep shows that some of the, just to prove that it has been implemented, and what would be the best example than Pradeep sharing his own example where he has done it himself. So yeah, Pradeep, would you like to share something which where we have done some good work in Balance Scorecard?
There are a lot of case studies which I can share with you from different industry, manufacturing, healthcare, water desalination, restaurants, hotels. So let me see what do I have. I'll share my screen again.
Oh, so that's great. We are going to see implementation in action. As they have a Hindi kahavat, "Haath kangan ko aarsi kya," means, instead of me telling you all these things, see for yourself. That's really good.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an example of a manufacturing company. So like I said, we started, the way we start implementing this is basically we first start conducting the workshop with the management of the company. We understand what exactly is their vision, what is their mission. We write down that statement, and then we conduct the workshop with the people within the department to come up with, we do the internal and external assessment, and based on that, we come up with the objectives, that what exactly they want to do in next, let's say 1 year, 2 years. So you can see here, Balance Scorecard, you have financial, customer, process, learning and growth. This gives you the overall performance of the company, overall performance, let's say out of 6, 3.7, you can see the trend, how is it going. So if I just click here, financial, they have 2 objectives. They want to increase revenue and optimize the costs of production. From customer, they want to acquire and retain the customers. From process, they want to improve the operational efficiency. And from learning growth, they want to attract the talent and promote the culture of performance. So this is the, like, triangle means perspective. These, the round means the dot means the objective. And then within that, you have KPIs. Okay. So for example, you have acquired retain talent, you have customer satisfaction score, number of class A and class B customers. And again, you cannot really copy the objectives or KPIs. It only depends upon what you want to achieve. Okay, so under, for example, process, you have the KPIs, rework, quality, utilization of machines, production. So let me show you, let's say if I want to see for the whole year, what has been the performance. So here we can see the, so for example, I want to see the rework. So I can see the rework here. Or I can simply look at all the KPIs together in a dashboard. So it shows me the complete dashboard, that which KPI is in red, which one green, which one is in yellow, which means we are very close to target, but really not achieving the target. And then we can have a lot of initiatives which you can track over here. So initiative, for example, this, we can see what is it on schedule or not, how much we have really spent in doing this objective. So we can track even the scores, the scorecard, or we can just expand and we can say track the past performance as well. So it's not only that we can only this, but we can also look at the past performance, even last 2-3 years, for example, rework. So this is how we start implementing, and then we have the initiatives. So, and then we can, it's very easy for us to track, even anybody can enter into the system and see the performance of this company and where are we on the center of the objectives. Okay. So this is, and this is what I'm saying as an automation. We have automated this, but even you can do this in Excel. There are some templates which are available.
So to reach such stages, it will be really, it will involve a lot of efforts. And as I've seen in many companies, I've seen that when the roadmap is not very clear, because people just want to have reach the end goal. They want to see that those dashboards, but path towards getting those goals is a little bit missing. Sometimes they are not aware of what are the steps to be taken. Sometimes they are aware of the steps, but they don't follow the steps. So what have been the challenges? Uh, of course, I understand some of the challenges with some of the organizations a long time back when I was implementing. In those days, there was no softwares, there were no applications, and we used to collect the data manually. And actually in 2004 or 5, we even attempted to implement Balance Scorecard in 3 organizations. Only one succeeded, 2 miserably failed. And that too, that one succeeded after 2 or 3 years, they gave up because they were not able to get the data, the data of the KPIs. So today, once the softwares are available, and once, as we see, just now we saw that we were able to very easily see the dashboards. What are the challenges you see in implementing such a setup?
Now, I will tell about the challenges and answer your question that when you said that 80% of the Balance Scorecard projects fail, and they fail because they are not able to overcome the following challenges. One of the major challenge in implementing the Balance Scorecard, there are many, but I'll highlight the few of them. One of them is the leadership commitment. If the leadership, the top management, if they are not committed to implement this, they just might consider it as a fab or something which is being spoken about in the industry, and they want to implement it. They really don't want to, there's no commitment, there's no support, it will fail. The second reason for the failure is the fear of measurement. So at the end of the day, what you are going to do is you're going to measure somebody's performance, and nobody would like to get measured. Nobody would like to get their performance being exposed. So there will be a lot of resistance which comes into picture. So head of the departments, they will not tell the right objectives. They will not help you in setting the KPIs. They will not help you in giving the data. So the first is the commitment from the leadership, and second is the resistance from the middle management, because they are going to get exposed because their performance will be in front of everybody. So this is the second one. The third challenge, which you rightly said, is the availability of the data. You might have the KPIs, it's a good objective, you have a KPI, but there is no data available. And then people say that this cannot be measured. And we as a Six Sigma professional believe that anything can be measured. And this is where we kind of having the background of a Six Sigma helps you in overcoming the challenge that we show how it gets measured. So we put the KPIs. But if there is no data available, here we have to take a decision that, fine, today we don't have the data available, but let's keep that KPI and let's work on putting a system in place to collect the data for this KPI. So this is the third major challenge. And the fourth challenge, like I said, if you keep on doing it on Excel, people really get, there are a lot of Excel, which, I'll give an example of the first implementation which I did was in Riyadh Bank, where we built the scorecard for about 90 people. So just imagine there were 90 Excel sheets being circulated in the organization, and maintaining 90 sheets by 2 or 3 people as a balanced scorecard team was practically impossible. So there was a kind of a halt until or unless Riyadh Bank said, okay, we need to automate, and they went and got some software from Oracle, and they again started implementing. But then again, for 2-3 years, there was no scorecard because it was practically impossible to manage 90 scorecards. So this is another challenge which we face in implementing. But now, because of RPA, because of integration, you can simply plug in the data from the system into the balance scorecard system, and your dashboards are ready. So now you don't have to really worry about the data, but you just have to worry about the performance reviews. And the third, other important part, the challenge which we face, fine, you might have a scorecard, but then organizing the meeting between the scorecard owner and a reviewer is also very important. The scorecard owner and a reviewer, they have to sit every month and review the performance, every quarter to look at the quarterly performance. So this is where, if there is no dedicated person who can handle the overall process, so that's why a lot of companies now, what they have done, they have created a separate department called as Office of Strategy Management, OSM, which is, I'm heading the department in Saudi Brothers. My role is basically to act a process owner of this whole strategy management process, where I need to ensure that the scorecards are updated, the meetings are happening on time, initiatives are being tracked and being reported. And unless you don't link your performance with the wallet, which is incentives, it's not going to work. So performance have to be linked with the incentives, the payout, with the salary increase. So now the head of all the people who have the scorecard, their appraisals are not done just based on HR appraisal, which is very subjective, but they are done based on how the KPIs, how well they have achieved the KPIs. So their bonus, salary increase, everything is calculated based on the scorecards. That's how you can overcome this challenge.
Oh, that brings me to another question. How Lean and Six Sigma Master Black Belts and Black Belts, they can select their projects using Balance Scorecard. So we have the dashboards. So is there any specific thing, or maybe some example how you chose Black Belt projects and Green Belt projects, taking a clue from the Balance Scorecard?
Yeah, I'll just again share my screen for that. Now, if you look at the internal process for this company, now here you see the KPIs which are related to rework, quality of production, utilization of machines, production versus capacity, adherence to print. So all of these KPIs, when we track it, we say, okay, this KPI is not doing good. So this is where the knowledge of Lean Six Sigma Black Belts and Master Black Belts, they come and say, okay, we are not doing good in this KPI. Why? So a lot of projects can come up from here. So the main role of where we can integrate Lean Six Sigma with the Balance Scorecard is looking at the internal processes and improving the internal processes. So a lot of projects comes from here. And in fact, we have done projects in improving, for example, rework. If I see, we are able to reduce the rework significantly. So this is where we can have the projects, improvement projects.
Okay, so that's really great. Now, if given a chance, like if you were to implement Balance Scorecard in a new organization, so what would you think we should do differently? Because we have seen the journey for a long time, and we have been, we know that we have been doing this for so many years, and every time there has been lots of learnings. So taking clue from all the so-called, sometimes of course small failures as well, what do you think we can do differently? And this will be also something those who have earlier failed, they can start the journey one more time. So that will be a little bit of guidance to those organizations who have earlier failed and then they would like to restart this journey, because things have changed a lot. So what we would do differently if we were to implement totally, we are given a new organization to implement Balance Scorecard.
Now, the right approach to implement a balance scorecard in the new organization would be in two phases. In phase one, we'll have to take it as a projectized approach. We have to take it as a project. We have to do a proper stakeholder analysis. We have to do the planning. We have to execute the project. And then we have to do monitoring control. And once we produce scorecard one time, that means the project is over. But then if we don't put a process in place to continue from there, it will again fall back. It will again fail. So the phase one is a projectized approach. You take it as a project, you build the right team as a project team, and they build a scorecard. But then you have to kind of implement something called Office of Strategy Management, or a person you have to dedicate who will be the process owner or architect of this whole process, who will continue the journey till the later stage. And there are two approaches here. One approach, for example, if the company is big enough, large enough, they can afford to have an Office of Strategy Management with the team. But the second approach is where you can outsource your strategy management process to companies who are specialized in, for example, Anexas. So if a small company, they don't have the resource to manage to do the Office of Strategy Management, they can outsource the strategy management part to Anexas. So Anexas, for example, can go and take this responsibility of getting the data, putting the data into the dashboard and presenting the dashboard, building the dashboard, and making sure that the scorecard owner and the viewer meetings are happening on a regular basis. So these are two things which is very much required. The phase one as a projectized approach. Phase two, how we're going to continue it. Either you do it yourself by having an OSM, or you outsource it to a strategy management company.
And even companies like us, they have gained a lot of experience now. We have learned from our failures. Of course, we can't say that we have always succeeded, but now we have learned from our failures. And if you are looking for some services related to Balance Scorecard, definitely you know where to go. But some of the people, individuals also would like to do a Balance Scorecard course. And many of you already know that we conduct this 2 days of Balance Scorecard training. And it was, okay. Pradeep, would you like to share with everyone what are the things they should look for, or they would be looking for in this training, and what are the things we cover? Although we have the agenda and it's published on our website, etc. And those who are interested, they can always come and attend our training programs. Balance Scorecard is a 2 days training program. But what exactly will be the benefit, and what are the things you'll be learning from this program? If Pradeep, if you would like to tell or share with some of the viewers.
How we plan our training for Balance Scorecard is again in two phases. The phase one, we'll talk about strategy management. If you remember in my presentation, I shared some tools like PESLE, Porter's 5 Forces, BCG metrics, SWOT metrics and all. So the first day, what we teach is basically how you build strategy. How do you use these tools to understand your external environment? How do you use these tools to understand your internal environment? And then how do you formulate a strategy? So till this is the first day, where how do you build a strategy and objective. The second day is where we go into the details of that, how you convert your objectives into initiatives, and how you put the KPIs in your for your objectives, and then for the KPIs, how you set your target, how do you do the benchmark, how you calculate the scores, how do you build the dashboard, and then how you build kind of Office of Strategy Management, what are things which are required. So this is where the way we look at the two phase approach. The phase one, how you build strategy, and phase two, how you implement scorecard. So this is what the people are going to learn in these 2 days of training.
And I think that's a very good career options for those who would like to start their career in the strategic management is a very interesting topic, and of course it will always be there. Other skills will come and go, but as we keep telling, the skills which we teach, Lean, Six Sigma, project management, all these skills are definitely going to be there for a long time. In fact, till the time processes are there, organizations are there, you will have to improve the processes. So you have Lean and Six Sigma. You will have to run projects, smaller projects, big projects. You have to have project management. And of course, you have to keep making strategies, and not only make strategies, but also you have to implement those strategies. So you have to have strategic management, and we have a program for that. And of course, if you want to implement it very seriously, we have got 2 days of Balance Scorecard. So I assume that many of you have really learned some real good things from this talk, and we would be looking forward to interact with you in our sessions. On a closing note, Pradeep, would you like to give some final message to all the people and all the people who are viewing right now, and also those who would be watching later on? Because most of the times, the people watch these videos at their convenience little later. So all the people who are watching, thanks for joining, first of all. Those who will be watching later on, any message you would like to give?
Yeah, definitely. I will add to your point of in terms of the career option for strategy management, project management, and operational excellence like Lean Six Sigma. A lot of people talk about that machines are taking over our jobs. AI is coming in, artificial intelligence and RPA, they all are coming. But we have to understand that all those jobs currently are being taken which are repetitive in nature. But the career option of, let's say, strategy management, project management, it's not repetitive. So this is where human mind still will be required. So this is like, I would agree with you that this is a very good career option. So you should definitely look forward for building your capability and skills in the field of operational excellence, project management, and strategy management. And though, I mean, you might be new to this, but there's always a start. So start today.
And those who have already seen our sessions, they know that all our sessions are very interactive, very nice, trying to sell the program to everyone. So please join us. Okay, by the way, a very, I would say it was very interesting talk, very informative talk, and we learned a lot about the Balance Scorecard, although, of course, how much you can teach in 40 minutes, but whatever was possible, you really did a great job. And the best part was sharing the experiences, the real life experiences. And of course, you have been part of Anexas journey for more than a decade, and contributed a lot. So for every quality talk, generally I thank the presenter. But in this case, because thank you would be not enough. Of course, we generally send you a thank you note to all our speakers, and that will be coming to you. It's on your way. Formally, we would do that for every speaker. We do that. We'll do it for you as well. But personally, I would like to thank, and of course, on behalf of all the people who are watching, Anexas alumni, and not only alumni, everyone who's watching this program, a very, very big thanks to you for sharing your knowledge. And we look forward to hear from you in many more talks to come. And thanks a lot.
Thank you.